Comet explodes on the sun. This is giving us a huge 5D karmic healing release for planet Earth. We're going to talk about that in this video. As always, my suggestion is to question your reality and then change it. ThunderWizard.com is the website that fully supports this YouTube channel. I need your support now more than ever. Go look at all of the subscription options. The Warrior 90-Day Lightning Qigong is my favorite, but there are others. You can also get personal mentorship, spiritual counseling. You can become an apprentice, live Zoom group classes. My books are michaelwilliamdenny.com. But today we're going to be talking about the Halloween comet that was supposed to go around the sun and be the brightest comet in the sky. However, it exploded. It disintegrated as it got to the sun. Take a look at this. Here it is coming in, and it's not very dramatic, but it disappears. Disappears right between our eyes. This is extremely important because this comet is actually a fragment of a comet that I believe came by the Earth perhaps 13,000 years ago, which brought the Younger Dryas cataclysm event, which melted all of the ice caps, which brought the flood, which wiped out the antediluvian civilization, high degrees of spirituality, high degrees of technology, wiped off the face of the earth. But I believe that this comet that you see disintegrating is the last remnant of that. Now, science already knows that this is a fragment of a comet, and they know that this is a comet that had an orbit that went around our sun that could have been tens of thousands of years. I heard somebody say that it was a 26,000 year comet, at least the last one that just came through. And I believe this one may very well be associated with that. My personal experience energetically and personally was that there was a major karmic release. And so we're going to be talking about that. I do have a list. We're going to walk through this list, so stay tuned for this. Even if I start going off on the tangent, I'm going to bring myself back. You're going to want to know about what it is that we're talking about. So, and I want to give you an update on what has happened to me personally. The day that this happened, literally the day that this thing, poof, disappeared, I became aware of a very serious issue in my life. The state of California, which I haven't lived in for almost 5 years, had frozen my bank account. All of my money. Like I was completely, totally broke. You know, this was October 28th. I found this out days before having to pay rent and all of that. I mean, I was, as you know, if you saw the video, I was in a very bad state. And it happened right when this, or at least I found it out right when this comet exploded. And it did a huge, there was a lot of things that I learned from that. So one of them is, if you haven't already heard about it, if you go to the ThunderWizard.com shop, or if you subscribe, we have this meditation to become the ruling god of your universe. And this is free for subscribers at the Warrior 90-Day Lightning Qigong or higher. If you go to ThunderWizard.com and subscribe to that or higher, you will get free access to this video in the shop. Or you can just go to the shop at ThunderWizard.com. It is a guided meditation video, extremely powerful. I take you through how, according to the most ancient Egyptian mythology, which I think goes all the way back to the antediluvian Atlantis mythological understanding. I take you through the mythological understanding of the birth of the soul, which is also the birth of, if you want to call it, God, how God came into existence. So, little known secret, your soul is in fact God. So whether you're just somebody who is a player in this video game, or whether or not you are the being who creates this video game has everything to do with whether or not you identify with the self-created soul within you, which is Atum. You might have heard of him as Atum Ra or Amun Ra. Atum Ra means the self-created one. Ra, the king, the self-created God, the self-created king. That is you. If you are able to do the work to remember who you really are and realize that the person that you are in this life is just a video game character. So these guys knew this thousands of years ago. In any case, you can do this meditation, and we're going to be talking about that. We're going to be going in this direction more and more. There's going to be a lot of stuff about this. I'm going to be sharing with you things that I have come to understand as a result of this comet exploding and releasing its karmic attachment to our downfall. And I was actively last night when I first learned this, and I learned it late at night, and then I had to try and go to sleep because I couldn't talk to anybody on the phone until this morning. So I had to deal with that real possibility. And so I started employing the understanding and some of the techniques that I've learned from that meditation. Again, it's a very powerful meditation. I don't do enough testimonials. People give me testimonials for the stuff that I do, and I don't do enough of it because this isn't really. I mean, I have to right now in 3D make a business out of this, but that's not really what I want to do. I just want to teach, and I just want to share, and I want to expand and explore. But somebody shared an experience that they had by doing this Atum Ra meditation where they went through numerous shifts. They released and went through numerous shifts. When I did that meditation and I recorded that meditation with the different seed sounds in it, which were very powerful. I take you through some very powerful seed sounds. I felt huge amounts of energy being redistributed and shifted inside of me. And then this comet was, and then this comet exploding on the 28th really released a lot of that. So last night, my 3D self is worrying, really worrying about my existence. And I started using some of the techniques and some of the awareness that came from this meditation, and it was quite enlightening, quite empowering. It's really quite an amazing feeling when you're able to energetically realize that this third dimensional reality is your creation if you are able to identify with the self-created God within you. And this is really what I want to do for myself and for you. I'm here to help you with that. Anyway, I'm starting to babble on and on. By the way, I'm extremely grateful for those of you who responded to my request for donations. And I have received some donations. They've been incredibly helpful. I thank you very much. I have made some progress. I was on the phone today. Actually, I made some significant progress. I still have to do some stuff in order to get them to let go of that and stop trying to take money from me that I don't owe them. So even beyond that, I've still got some housing issues that I've got to deal with. So I'm still going to keep these donations going. So if you go to support.thunderwizard.com, you see it there, support.thunderwizard.com. You can watch the video. You can see me when I was putting this together. All of that, there's still some things about that are still accurate and true. But I'm going to keep this donation scenario set up. So here's what I need you to do. Go to support.thunderwizard.com to learn about it. I need you, when you're ready to donate, to go to paypal.com and donate to my personal email account, 5elementdao@gmail.com. Please remember to use the friends and family option, because if you don't, I end up having to pay a fee and pay taxes. So this, I'm not selling you anything. This is, you are giving me a gift. In exchange for that, I, out of my gratitude, give you a gift. And so here are the suggested gifts that I give you. You can read them there. I won't take the time to go through them, and I talk about them at support.thunderwizard.com. Thank you so much, everybody who has been donating. And again, this donation setup is great because you get same stuff that I sell on the thunderwizard.com webpage, and you get significant savings on some of these very powerful things. And anyway, go check that out, support.thunderwizard.com. All right, so let's get back to this. Questioning our reality and then changing it. That's what I'm really experiencing with this comet exploding and the karmic healing that is coming for us. So let's just get right into the list here. So this is called the Halloween Comet. If you haven't heard about it, it was a comet fragment that I haven't confirmed this, but I believe it is from the Younger Dryas Cataclysm. And what, comets have always been known to be harbingers of major changes, major shifts. When we are, let's take a look here. We don't have to worry about this at least for another 13,000 years. But when you look at the yugas here, remember we live in, you've heard of Kali Yuga before. So there are different ages that we go through. Now, please disregard the majority of what you've heard about yugas because this was compiled during Kali Yuga and people made some mistakes. Even majority of Hindus still think we're in Kali Yuga. And they think that each yuga or each age lasts millions upon millions of years, which isn't true. So the entire Kali Yuga progression takes a total of 26,000 years to go to do the ascending and the descending of the ages. And there's only 4 of them, as you see. There's Satya Yuga, which is the essence of spirituality. There's Treta Yuga, which means that in Satya Yuga, you're 100% connected to the spirit. In Treta Yuga, you are 75% connected to the spirit. In Dwapara Yuga, you're 50% connected to the spirit. And in Kali Yuga, you're only 25% connected. So that means 75% of the population is completely, totally disconnected. And as it turns out, in the middle of Kali Yuga, that's when the really oppressive religions were created and people were burned at the stake for reading spiritual books in their own language and all kinds of crazy stuff like that. So if you look at the red line there, again, the Younger Dryas, let me expand that. So if you look at the top there, you have the Younger Dryas climate catastrophe. That is exactly about 13,000 years ago, because as I understand it, time goes a little differently depending whether you're ascending or descending. So the descending cycle, I think it tightens up, and the ascending cycle, time goes a little longer, something like that. In any case, 13,000 years ago, the Younger Dryas climate catastrophe happened, and this is what is talked about by people who are understanding that we used to live on a planet that had a civilization that was much more advanced than the one we have now. Now, I've recently gone through, you might believe me or disbelieve me, but I've chosen to believe it. I've been given information from my higher dimensional ET guides telling me that I was a very powerful person during the Atlantean global empire, and I made some mistakes. I didn't listen to my guides, and I made some mistakes, and perhaps as a direct result of that, we had some comets that hit the earth, wiped everything out, and that was a conscious decision by the multiverse, because we Atlanteans 13,000 years ago, I've gone back and done some work and some meditation and gone back into who I was at that time, and I realized that even though I was extremely spiritually connected, and even though I was multidimensional, I was still very immature when it came to 3D Earth living. So I was bringing my higher dimensional deity understanding into my 3D Satya Yuga incarnation, and so it was half and half. It was, we were 100% connected, but we weren't all very mature. We didn't know how to handle all that power. For many of us, this was our first incarnation in dense 3D reality. So even though we're in Satya Yuga, we were still 3D, but we had connection. And I didn't handle it as maturely as I could have. So what ended up happening is the universe said, we got to take this power away from these Atlanteans. They're misusing it. So that's when these comets came. And, those comets that hit Earth, I believe that there were fragments that were, that came off of those comets, and they continued their orbit, their 13,000 year or 26,000 year orbit around Earth, or whatever it was. And so again, that's what I think that this is. I think that is a fragment, and the fact that it disappears in the sun. What is the sun? The sun is the soul. We are in the solar flash event. Now, I don't know. I want for there to be, and if I have anything to do with it, I'm going to do everything I can to create or to manifest a single solar flash event that everybody experiences in a big shift up. I think that would be appropriate based on the fact that the Earth fell like literally in one day. I would love to see us go up the next day. Now, I don't have any guarantee that that's going to happen, but what I do know is that light beings have made it very clear to me that there is a solar flash event, and we are in it. And when I asked what it was, they told me it was a series of solar waves. We are experiencing that. They actually called it solar waves of love. So the sun is giving us an awakening, if you want to call it light codes, if you want to call it that. In fact, this is what happens when we have these kinds of solar weather scenarios that we have currently, where we have the combination of the Earth's reduced magnetic field, which we're experiencing, as well as these solar maximum events with a lot of solar radiation hitting Earth. This changes the DNA, and this is when you have big leaps and you have new species emerge and old species disappearing. It happens during these times. And so the sun is definitely shifting us up. No two ways about it. Whether it's going to be a gradual or it's an overnight thing, it doesn't change the fact that the sun is doing that. And so you have this karma associated from a previous, I think, I'm willing to be wrong about this, but I think a previous Earth cataclysm brought about by our immaturity. And as a result of that, there's this karmic fragment flying through space, and it hits the sun and it disintegrates, which means that karma's gone. But then there has to be a release within us. So for me, I feel like I had at least, hopefully, I'm hoping there isn't any more, but it was a huge release. And what I found out through all of that, and again, thankfully, thanks again for the support. I'm making huge progress in resolving that. But what I experienced was I became really aware of my attachment to 3D security. I don't judge myself for that, because that's the reality that we live in. Ideally, if I was completely, totally, enlightened, I'd go, that's interesting. I'm not worried. I'm connected. The universe will take care of me. I started flipping out, and I think that's a normal reaction. But I did become aware of my attachment to the situation and the mindset behind it that may have manifested it. In fact, that did manifest it. And it came from devaluation and a lack of worth and feelings of insecurity and poverty and victim consciousness. And it was in a deeply unconscious level. And this got brought to the surface like a pimple that needed to be popped. Sorry for the gross symbolic explanation there. In any case, you get what I'm saying here. So getting back to what we were talking about. So this comet, I believe, was a fragment from the Younger Dryas Cataclysm, and the sun, which is the soul, released the karmic curse from 13,000 years ago. As I said that, I got a huge rush of energy, which is usually the light beings telling me, yep, that's it, that I'm going in the right direction. So humans will be able to release unconscious attachments. This is the time. As I said in my most recent video, it is not my job to reveal anything going on this planet that might be challenging to hear. And I think there's two reasons for that. As I said, number one, there are people whose job it is to do that. People like Dr. Stephen Greer and many other pundits all over YouTube and Rumble and places like that. They're revealing what has been going on, and it's not a pleasant thing to become aware of. But it's not my job to talk about that. If I talk about that, there's a negative blowback when I do that. My job is to focus on the future, and my job is to focus on what we can do right now to change this. So I am of the belief that if we don't do anything, if human beings don't do anything, we may be on a karmic course for some really challenging world scenarios coming up. But I have seen in myself that the deities, the gods, the light beings are working overtime to try and help us course correct. Meaning, again, the difference between a slow, chaotic progression with all kinds of difficulties and challenges, or an immediate, solar flash type of scenario where we get to go up out of nowhere. That is up to us. And I have come to the conclusion that the things that I am doing, I've come to the conclusion that the things that I am doing, sorry, I got distracted by a text, speaking of attachments. I've come to the conclusion that the things that I am doing in these live guided meditations that we do, the power that is being released, I've come to the conclusion that this wasn't part of the original karmic plan. That I showed up. I don't think that it was karmically planned for me to show up and do CE5 and do the things that I was doing. I could be wrong about this, but the feeling I get is that I showed up and I was fully committed. In fact, when I started doing CE5 or human initiated contact with ETs, when I started doing that, I had to commit, and I was willing to die. And I said, I want to experience as much as I possibly can. I want to go as deep as this is. If there are beings out there that are higher dimensions, and you have, these, spiritual powers and connections, I want that. And even if it kills me, I'm going to do whatever it takes. And I think they heard me and they listened. It almost did kill me. I almost lost my mind trying to absorb their understanding. And some people, they spend years. There are a lot of people who've been awakening for decades. Mine was, within days and weeks. I had to get that level. And it was, I'm grateful that I did it. I don't regret it, but it was extremely challenging. And the feeling that I got was that there were beings that went, holy crap, look at this guy. This guy is showing an interest in this and a commitment to this, and let's give it to him. This is a human. If he can become sort of a hybrid, higher dimensional human, we might be able to completely shift this thing and up the timeline much faster. I got that feeling numerous times, and in fact, there were times when I was interacting with higher dimensional beings that gave me, these big upgrades, and they said such. They said, "We've been looking for somebody like you who has the willingness to do this." So because I'm lucky enough, I didn't have anything going on in my life. My life was boring as hell. I was able to do that. And the point I'm trying to make is that can be you. So I encourage you to ask yourself, how deep are you willing to go? If you're willing to go deep, and if there's enough of us doing these live guided meditations on Wednesdays and Saturdays, if there's enough of us doing this, then we are going to see huge changes very quickly. This is an opportunity. This is an opportunity. That is huge amounts of karma being released by the sun. So what I think is going to happen, as I said, is that humans will be able to release unconscious attachments. This is the time for energy practice, meditation, and self-cleansing. Self-cleansing is you take the initiative to do self-initiated karmic release. So I'm pulling up my runes here because there are 2 runes for karmic release. This one is called Yuhuaj, and it is and the universe decides for you. So you don't volunteer. The universe decides for you. You have an awakening, and it's usually extremely challenging. That's what I went through a couple of years ago. And then there is the self-initiated karmic healing, and that is represented by the rune. I'm trying to get to it. The rune, drum roll. The rune, it's going to be the very last one. The rune, it was the last one. The rune Hagalaj, which also means healing. So healing is self-initiated. We are in that state where we can choose. We got 2 choices. What I believe this comet is doing, that release right there, I believe that release right there is human beings are going to go through one of these. Which one do you want? Pick one. What's that? You want this one? Well, you're braver than I am. You want this one, self-initiated. That's going to be a lot more pleasant. So you make the decision. And how we do that? How we do that is we do the energy practices, the meditation, and the self-healing, the self-cleansing. Now, this split, this dimensional split between higher and lower frequencies is unavoidable. How we experience it is up to us. It is our choice. So we get to choose. And I'm here to tell you that there has never been, there has never been in the history of planet Earth, never has there been a time when human beings can go beyond what people have only been able to experience in near-death experiences. And even then, if this is true awakening outside of the body, near-death experiences have got here. Because once you get past this point, you awaken to your deityhood. And normally, up until this point, while the Earth program was still going, while the universe was still learning from the 3D Earth program, if you went beyond this near-death experience level, you wouldn't be able to come back. because you wouldn't be able to be a normal person and function in 3D and have a normal life. You would be split into two different worlds, and you would have what I and other people have been going through, where part of you knows that you're a deity and the other part of you says, wait a minute, I'm just here in 3D. It's very challenging. So if you had a world of people like that, nothing would happen. Everybody would just be crashing their cars and losing their mind. But now, for the first time, you can evolve energetically and consciously to a place that has never been reached. Because what you're being prepared for is making the conscious shift up to a higher frequency in your current incarnated self. Now, whether that is a complete shift to another dimension, another frequency, or whether it's just a shift in the mind, I'm out to lunch on that. I don't have an answer on that one yet. It doesn't matter though. It's happening. It's coming. How it's going to look, that is up to us. And I ask the light beings all the time to give me, tell me what's going on, tell me when, tell me how much, and they almost always have the same response, which is, it's completely up to you. This is your experiment. We're just the custodians here. We're not the one running this thing. You're doing this. You're the one running it. You are Atum. You are Atum Ra, self-created. I'm talking to you. And you can be as powerful and as awakened as you choose. And we've never had this experience ever. We've never had this opportunity ever on planet Earth. Let's see, where am I? I am here. All right, so the split is unavoidable. How we experience it is up to us. Be prepared for the end of the 3D civilization. Now, there's a lot of people giving out a lot of negative stuff, even people who supposedly have had visions or receiving information. I'm not talking about the so-called channelers. I'm not going to get in. The majority of channelers aren't. I don't think they're getting information from places that are worth your time. But there are people who do. So there are people who call themselves channelers, and really what they do is they go into a state of meditation and they tell you what they see and what they hear. They don't do the normal kind of channeling, which I won't get into. But I wouldn't use the word channeling. I would just use the ancient word, which is to see. A seer is somebody who sees. A channeler is somebody who gives up their body and lets themselves become possessed. At least that's what a lot of them do. A lot of people use the word channeling, and what they're really doing is they're seeing. And I have this ability, and you can have this ability. I didn't always have this ability. But what I'm seeing is that there isn't a specific path yet. There isn't a one timeline. Oh, we do this timeline and A, B, C, D. It's not. It's open-ended. And it's up to us. We literally have the power to be like God and create whatever the hell we want. And the more of us that do that, we can change this thing. And all of the things that people are seeing, people who've had visions and they see this, some of the frightening, horrible things that are coming, supposedly, that's only going to come if people continue to be, brain dead idiots. It has to go that way. But if we get ahead of it by doing our spiritual work, then we get to change it. We get to create a different pathway. It's completely up to us. So, split is unavoidable. How we experience it is up to us. Be prepared for the end of 3D civilization. And again, it's whether or not it's Hagalaj or Yuhwaj. Yuhwaj, it happens without your permission, without your control. Or Hagalaj, you take proactive decisions to change things, and they change according to your understanding and what's comfortable for you. That's healing. Healing is a good thing. You take a medication, you slowly get better, and going through toxic cleansing is something else. You take too much of a certain medication, and then you're leaking out of both ends and uncomfortable. You're going to end up healing in the long run, but it's going to be a horrible ride. So decide, do you want it to be a pleasant ride or a difficult ride? It's up to you, but you have to do the work. And I'm here, and the rest of my life, I am committed to one thing. As long as I am here in the third dimension, I am only here for one thing besides my own happiness, is to give everybody the tools. I will do that. I am committed to giving you the tools to shift. And I won't give up. And I've been given some power. I've been given some power by very high dimensional light beings who have given me power. When we do these interdimensional meditations, I am doing things that isn't part of the normal process. I'm here to tell you that. The normal process, the way things would go, I am circumventing that. And I've been given the power to do that. And if you're doing these meditations every Wednesday and Saturday, or even doing the recorded versions, you are tapping into that power. And if you do that, those beings will see you and give you more power. So I invite you to come and be a part of my interdimensional army. And I'm determined to shift this as fast as possible. I'm trying. I'm doing everything I can. I would love to have your help. So come and do those meditations every Wednesday and Saturday, 8:30 p.m. Eastern. If you need help, if you're struggling, if this is challenging for you, I'm here for you in a bunch of ways. I'm here counseling. I'm here all of the practices that I give at thunderwizard.com, the Atum Ra meditation, all that stuff. I am here for you in those ways as well. All right. So be prepared for the end of the 3D civilization. Work with light beings is going to intensify. So like never before, you have access to the gods. Like never before. The only time that we had this kind of access was 13,000 years ago, before Satya Yuga started descending. If you go back, when the Atlantean civilization was rising and first came in, when we were at our peak, I mean, it was heaven on earth. We hadn't lost our minds yet. We started losing our minds and tried to hold on to that technology and that spirituality, and we started abusing it. And the universe said, no, we're not going to have that. Bam, and took it away from us. But before that, we were amazing. We were beautiful, innocent children that were living on an innocent, perfect world, and we were connected to gods and light beings and all the dimensions, and there wasn't any separation. And the light beings are here wanting to create that. You can have as much access as you can tolerate. So go do those meditations. The best way is to do these interdimensional meditations. I teach you exactly how to do that. Every time we do it, you can replicate it yourself. Do the other practices as well. That's it for me, my friends. Thank you so much. Again, thunderwizard.com is the website. Go there, and the books, michaelwilliamdenny.com. And again, these donations are still greatly appreciated, and it gives me an opportunity to give out more stuff to people at cheaper prices. Go check that out at support.thunderwizard.com. If you want to donate, please go to paypal.com and donate to 5elementdao@gmail.com. And please remember to use friends and family option. Otherwise, they charge a fee, and I'll have to pay taxes on it. So this is a donation. It's a gift I give back to you. So remember, friends and family. That's it, my friends. Please remember to question your reality. I love you all. Please be good to yourselves. I will see you all very, very soon. And until then, please take very good care of yourselves. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this.